millennial, as you know, so I'm kind of on the cusp. I get some of those little millennial nostalgias, but I also got the zillennial. I kind of
Right.
understand the skibbity on that. But oh yeah, but there's something about that kind of like later '90s too, like the turn of the century too. I remember it was like golden tea, like golden
Oh
tea
yeah.
99. Like I remember you'd be at like fucking Taco Mac or like $3 cafe or like Loco's Pub or something like that, and you'd see this like arcade machine, and it's like literally like I was speaking about Resident Evil, how that was like our era defining game with like the pre nostalgic backgrounds, like the pre
Mhm.
rendered, all that stuff. And but that game, Golden Tee, that's like Resident Evil or House of the Dead for boomers.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. They have like a you go to Taco Mac, you go to Loco's Pub, you have a brewski, and you shoot some. You use that little trackball. It
Oh
was like a
yeah.
mouse trackball. Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
you know exactly what I'm talking about. I remember one time I was like a kid. We'd go to like some like bub par restaurant like that. They have like the arcade games. It was like a electronic bar top arcade games. That's back when you could like fucking smoke. That was like in 2003 when you could like they were like smoking or non-smoking.
Even though the sections were right next to each other, and if you got like a non-smoking next to a smoking, it didn't matter. Yeah.
We went with a family event to this place called Loco's Pub. It was like a couple families that went just out to dinner on Saturday night when I was like 8 in like 2003, and like they're like smoking or non-smoking, and it was like right when they were gonna or what do you call it, criminalize that shit again,
Oh
and they
yeah.
outlawed that shit. So like I remember we were sitting at the restaurant. I saw Golden Tea. I just like thought the graphics were like so awesome because I was like, dude, this looks like Resident Evil. It's like when you go to the movie theater and they have House of the Dead. Like
Oh yeah.
that's like the same
Yeah.
experience boomers get when they see Golden Tea 99. Oh
It's
yeah,
true.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
But you'd also look at and see there's like an old guy like in like a Vietnam hat like smoking a cigarette at
Oh
the
yeah.
bar, looking like Lieutenant Dan, and then next to him was like electronic bar top games like a touchscreen that came from like China. It wasn't even a touchscreen. It was like an LCD. I swear, I shit you the fuck not. It was like an LCD TV, and it had like little knobs on the side of it where you could. But like all the games were so racist. It was so awesome. It was like stereotype like Chinese and like Mexican. It was so awesome too. Like, but yeah, that was the days, man, when
That's
you could
true.
smoke inside fucking Loco's Pub, dude. But yeah, that leads into my time because we told like Y2K, which was that's '94. That lasted up into about 2003, literally probably
Yeah.
right around that time, and that around that time, the change was real when the Windows XP computers
Mm.
rolled in. Because those were everywhere. I mean, I grew up with those in the classroom basically from like late elementary school. And I remember like mid 2000s, like, our old gateway started kind of falling apart.
Mm.
I think we might have downloaded a little LimeWire on there.
LimeWire. Yeah. Still do.
Yeah, that's just so good. But yeah, I think the thing that's cool is that we were like, okay, somebody bricked it. It's time to get a new one. So like, you get the silver chrome. That's how you know
Oh.
it's and that they call that time frame, starting in 2004 to 2013. It's called Frutiger Aero. Oh yeah, yeah, and you know what's funny is that I always thought that style is just like normal. I was like, oh, this is what like normal looks like. I remember like you go to all the hotels, they have like bubbles and like
Oh yeah.
fish and
True.
like seagulls and
Mhm.
like aloe plants and like water pouring out of like orbs onto the
Oh.
cities
Oh
and shit.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it is a very it's like when you look back, you're like, okay, I kind of feel fondly for it because like at first I was like, it's too early. I said
Right.
we shouldn't be nostalgic on this till about the 2030s, but the nostalgic window is 25 to 30 years, and we're getting around that
Yeah.
turn of the point in nostalgia there on
That's
that.
true.
People are getting nostalgic for the millennium on that. So that's why I'm kind of reminiscing about this stuff too, because like I mean there's so many golden gems. Like it makes me think about like when I was in middle school, like probably like 2008, 2009, and I mean just that's just the era that the mid 2000s, and like
Oh yeah.
I used to play Roblox. Believe it or not,
Roblox.
I'm young enough to like. I remember when I was like a kid, like I was like in middle school. Roblox
Roblox.
like started like actually
Did it?
it started like early, like it started like in the '90s or something like that. Like the people who made it, but like I watched a whole documentary about it. But like when I was like I remember 10 or 11, me and my brothers used to like, they used to have like Call of Duty maps, like you had like guns and stuff. It was so awesome, dude. Like you could fly helicopters. It was sweet, dude. And they had these like obstacle courses called obbies, and like it's like something like Kai Cenat plays where people just sit and watch him do that for like hours. Like that shit runs deep. Like that shit goes back. Like
nice.
that's like
Yeah.
08, 09, but like Club Penguin. Oh
Club
yeah.
Penguin.
Yeah, so here's the deal. Is Disney bought that out maybe like early 2010s, but like when I was a kid, I think that it started on a website called miniclip.com, and they used to have
Okay,
flash games cuz that goes into flash game territory. Like I think Club Penguin was probably the greatest MMO of all time. Like yeah, I love there were so many awesome parts. There was like the hidden iceberg, and then for the last episode they like flipped the iceberg. They actually, because people were always like, the whole time they were like, oh, there's a rumor that there's an iceberg, you can't flip it, and there was like a bunch of creepy pastas and shit about it. But then like when they closed Club Penguin, they flipped the iceberg, and they're like, together we could change the world. And I was like, I'm not crying, you're crying. But yeah. Oh yeah, and then I think that there's lost media there too. It's like a art. Like what's sad is that when Disney bought out Club Penguin, all the mini clip assets were like gone. So it's like you can't find anything pre like 2005, 2006 on YouTube, and they'll say, oh, this is the Christmas song from the original. I'm like, no, this isn't. Like I remember when me and my buddy were in fourth grade, and we were in the map, and there was like you can go under the tunnels, and you can go, and there was like this spy mission and stuff. And the Christmas music was banging, and the sleigh rides too. Like there's a penguin race where you like go down the hill, and you're like, dude, that was like, I mean, and what's hilarious is with games like that and Pajama Sam, like it was always the free ones, like or like the ones that were like, you could get through like a cereal box or some shit. Like they were always the best. Like your parents would be like, yeah, I'm gonna buy you $100 Rita Rabbit fucking collection. And then you're like, nah, I'm gonna play fucking Pajama Sam, dude. Pajama Sam was awesome. And that's for the people being like Freddy the Fish, dude. Oh, dude, they have them on the Switch, too. I actually replayed Pajama. I've never played the second one. I want to do like a live stream. That'd be hilarious, too. I've never played that game. It'd be cool to see like my first reaction live on that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And but that reminds me of just like flash animation. Like I don't know if you remember like I mean I know you're a little bit older, but like I was like probably in middle school, so like when we were in school, like we'd have the computers, and during recess, like a lot of times it was like storming. They'd be like, okay, you sit in the computers, like watch TV, like draw, you play Pokemon on your Game Boy or whatever, and like I would go on to funbrain.com. It was kind of like mini clip. It was like another flash game like compilation, but they had like this maze, and it was like a whole like a maze you had to get through, and each stop on the maze it was like a different mini clip game you would play. And it was like there was like one where you're a centipede and you had to like eat all the other bugs, and then there was one where you're the stick figure. It was called like Mighty Guy, and he had like spiky hair, and you used to you had to get through the city. But the thing that was significant about that was where they first advertised Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Like before Disney bought that out too, that was like an underrated thing. And I remember they were like Greg Heffley's journal, like come see it, like November of 2004. Like, and like
So
now it's
snuck it in.
now. Oh no, that's how it started.
How it started?
That's how Diary of a Wimpy Kid got started, because like that guy who made it, he started by advertising on the kids games website, and that's how people like my generation knew about it. And then right after that blew up, I think my younger brother, who's maybe 3 or 4 years younger than me, Paul, his like I'm a zillennial, but he's like a Zoomer proper. So like everything that he does is like, it's so weird because he was like 3 years after me, but everything's so fucking different. Like I had a Game Boy SP, he had a DS.
Right.
I had a iPod Nano, he had the iPod, whatever. But like it was like the same kind of deal. Like it was like weird because they started doing the Diary of a Wimpy Kid books. Like right when he started getting into middle school. So it was just funny because I was like, it's so weird how everything that starts out small like that, like Disney's gonna buy it out eventually. Like
I think Disney pretty soon is just gonna own the world.
Oh yeah, but what's funny also is the we were speaking about Flash animation games, but Homestar Runner was another big one. Strong Bad, but somewhere weird, got all types of crazy crap.
I bought Strong Bad, a deep impact.
all that stuff was like albinoblacksheep.com. Like that's where like that was not like a kids website by any means. That was like almost like pre 4chan like forums. But it
Whoa,
was like
okay.
but it was cool because it was like I mean it was a website where it was like indie creators for flash animations and games would post their stuff. So that's where the ultimate enemy like it was like I don't want to sing the song, but it was like that was like a really popular like meme.
Yeah.
It was like before memes and before Facebook, but I remember like everybody was singing that song. It was about how like all the like villains and heroes from every movie ever and Shaq and everybody was like fighting each other. I'm sure you remember the Batman and all that.
Yeah.
Like
I
yeah,
know
that
what you're
was
talking
you
about.
know, and that was crazy because I mean I grew up with that. I definitely feel like it defined a lot of the media now that we have from our generation, especially like Smiling Friends and stuff like that.
Oh
I think
yeah.
that dude like was started way back then on that kind of platform too. And I remember there was this one Flash animation. It was called "Marry the Bitch," and it like predicted Karens in like 20 years ago. It was so awesome. Like I remember it was like this old like white lady. She's like smoking a cigarette, and it was like "Marry the Bitch," and like she like started running like Sonic, and then like she goes to Walmart like to complain or something, and then like somebody kills like Sam Walton, the owner of Walmart, and then there's I remember all I remember from that clip is this guy going, "You killed Sam Walton."
I have ever smoked in my entire life.
Lady, you just killed Sam Walton!
At 29 seconds.
That's how I fucking learned that. But you know what's hilarious is that like there was a lot of media like 20 years ago that predicted the rise of Karens.
Oh yeah.
You know what another one was Over the Hedge. Like I remember because a bunch of our
Yes.
neighborhood kids went and saw that in the theater. It was like 2006 when that came out, and all our moms took us. I remember all the moms were like so mad after we saw that. I was like, why are they so mad? And then it was because like I look back when watching it now, and I was like, all the squirrels are like terrorizing this like fucking Karen, and then she like literally like there's a whole meme about it. Like she like portrays like all the tropes of like a modern day Karen, but like 20 years ago. It's so good. It's so funny.
Whoa.
Like, yeah, that shit's classic. But oh yeah. But back on the like the early 2000s like technology, like I mentioned iPod Nano. Like I had that iPod Nano when
Oh.
07. That was like I was probably in 5th grade. That's when I first really got into music, and I mean that changed everything, especially with being a musician. I remember my older stepbrother had the iPod Video.
Oh, the
It was like
video.
the slightly
Yeah.
bigger one that it still had the click wheel on it, but you could like watch like Pirates of the Caribbean and shit on that. I remember it was like iRobot. Like my brother had one, was pretty awesome. They called it like it was either the video or the classic. It was like the same thing, but like I don't know why they did market it as both, which is kind of fucking confusing. But yeah,
Yeah.
and dude, I remember the iPod Touch. I think it was like oh 09. This is still within Frutiger Aero period, but I would consider iPod Touch Frutiger Aero. Like the icons on the
Yes.
like yeah, I'm talking about like the first or second or third generation, dude. Like I remember like when that came out, like you could like download it was like Cydia on it and like and like Black Rain or some shit. And like the thing that was awesome is it was like free. Like you just go to a website, you like click a link and you're like, okay, cool. And then your iPod, you're like, I could like spin the apps around now like in a circle. Like it's like you would just like fuck with the infrastructure of like the coding of the iPhone. It was pretty awesome. Like and like it turned us all into like I swear like I had the knowledge of like CIA coding when I was like in 4th grade. Like I remember we had
Oh yeah.
MySpace. Do you remember MySpace? Like you
Oh,
could
I
like
remember
you
MySpace.
could straight up code like your own like you'd be like, oh, I don't like the way that this banner looks. Let me like go into the URL coding. I was like, I don't know how the fuck I learned how to do that shit. I just did it. Like it was crazy. It was I think it was like a psyop or some shit. It was pretty, it was pretty
Yeah.
crazy. But yeah, the thing that was cool about iPod Touch was my favorite thing about I don't condone anything illegal, but my favorite thing was just I mean, and again, emulation's a gray area. You know, where they talk about preservation, but I was preserving these
True.
old Nintendo games on emulation. I was
There you
playing
go.
Home Alone on the NES, and it was pretty. It's like a terrible game. The game sucks. It's so bad. But I remember back. I was like, I could play this on the iPod. That's pretty cool. And like, I
Yeah.
remember playing like Myst. I remember like the old PC game from like
Oh
1995.
my
Like,
gosh.
you could play that. I remember when it came on the iPhone. They were like, that's a fucking huge deal. And all it is like still pictures, and you're like, it's like a slideshow. That's like what the people are like. Oh my god, dude, Myst, man. But Myst is pretty cool. I like the aesthetics. Myst is pretty sweet. There's like Riven Beyond Myst. Like that's more Frutiger. I think Myst is like
Yeah.
Y2K, and then like Riven or whatever it's called. That's like yeah. Oh yeah. That's Frutiger Ergo proper right there on that. And oh yeah. I remember. But I also had a Minecraft theme. So that's the thing is people don't understand. Minecraft's fucking old, dude. Minecraft came out in like 2008, 2009. Like I remember when I was like in like I think it was freshman year in high school. It was like 2011. There was this like sick like goth dude that was in my class, and I always thought he was like so cool. And then he like comes over. He's like, dude, have you ever heard of Minecraft before? And he was like a year older than me. I was like, no, what's that? He showed me. It like changed my life. I was like, this guy's fucking awesome, dude. Like, but I remember that it became like a huge thing, like because Microsoft bought it out, and then it became like then you see a bunch of like 12-year-olds wearing like creeper fucking shirts everywhere. But like, yeah. Yeah, but I remember I played that game when it was like an alpha and beta, and I remember I used to download mods. Like, and I used to like go into like like System 32 and like what do you call it, like WinRAR and stuff like that, like unpack mods and stuff on there. Yeah, oh yeah, that's back when you could like get like Pokemon Red and Blue, like you could do emulation. The best thing is that I learned way back then, like those video games are like a lot of them are like an elaborate picture show, especially Pokemon. You're like, this is like just a really, really well put together slide like picture show that you can control. Like it's just like, but it's just as crazy because I remember you can like mess with the backgrounds and like the character models and stuff like that, and like that's how I learned how to develop my game with my RPG Arcangelo Demoni on PC. But yeah, and but yeah, I think that the most Frutiger Aero game. It's probably like Combat Evolved Halo. I remember when I had some friends in high school. They were able to get like a ported version. It was like a hacked version of Halo, but it was just the multiplayer, and like everybody would play it at school. It became like a problem. Like there were people just playing it in class. He's like, "You motherfucker!" And like and the teachers like looking at them all sideways. It's so good.
I'm sorry, I'm just picturing it.
Oh no, that shit got intense. And I remember on like winter break, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, let's take this to the." I remember there's one kid like where I was in the snow level. It was only on the PC too. It was like the sniper level, and I was like, we were doing snipers only, and it was intense, dude. And then I used to play like modded Combat Evolved too. That shit was hilarious as well. But so Frutiger Aero. It was a good time while it lasted, but unfortunately, like the great Empire of Rome, it came crumbling when the literal Visigoths we call that the scene, Fallout Boy. And it's funny because like I'm pretty, I grew up with that too, so it's just like I can't be like, I was both. I like both. And Frutiger Aero wasn't even a thing back then. Like I can tell you, I existed back then. I haven't heard the word Frutiger Aero until maybe 2023. Because it's a new term, but like to describe an old, fashion state. That's just it's the 2000s. That's what right. But it's just funny because I remember when it died out because it was with MySpace, like we were saying, it was MySpace, and I remember it was called Frutiger Metro. Or they called it metrosexual. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember metrosexual? Yeah, because I remember I was like I remember I was raised Mormon, and we were at one of the ladies in our church's house, and it was like my friend's mom, and I was like, I want to dye my hair like get like blonde streaks in it and make it black like Pete Wentz, and then my like friend's mom was like, that's so metrosexual. But yeah, so that did die out. So I think that like the 2008 through 2013, that was like the collapse of the Frutiger, because like then you had like Windows 8 and like Windows 10, all that shit come in. But that led way to the rise of the hipsters in I say 2013 to 2024.